And all I want is for them to go to people like you, spend some time with you, for you to shake them up and say, get your business on. Put your business as important as your craft. Right? I think that's critical.
I'm DaJuan Johnson. Welcome to the Think Bigger Actors podcast, where I share with you different kinds of talks and coachings and conversations with actors and industry professionals on thinking bigger. I hope these conversations will help you on your path to success, because I believe success is an inside job that starts with your mindset and the thoughts you hold dominant in your mind. Change your thoughts and you change your world. Your path to thinking bigger begins now.
Welcome back to the Think Bigger Actors podcast. I'm your host, DaJuan Johnson, and today, we got a great episode for you. We are chatting with another casting director, Rose Rosen, who just really like came on the podcast and blew it up. I had to put it back together. It was so good. She did not disappoint, but we'll get to that in just a second. We'll also talk about that scary thing, if you're following me on social media, that I just did. That's going to be happening in August of 2024. Not scary as in like, this is scary, don't come to this thing, but scary as in sometimes when you step into your light, when you step into your purpose, that doesn't always feel amazing. It feels a little scary at first. And we're going to talk about that a whole bunch. And so if you live in Los Angeles or your surrounding area, or you just want to fly in and join us, this is going to be your thing. So make sure you stick around for a little bit to check out what that is. I'll just tell you, I've been planning this for 5 whole years. 5 whole years. But before we get to both of those things, I just want to chew your ear for a second. I don't even know if that's the right saying. It seems like probably should say with consent. I want to chew your ear with consent. Lend me your ear. How about that? That was a little better. I've been getting a lot of my actors come to me for audition coaching, feeling a bit down right now, because this is probably what they've said. This is their first audition of the year, or others have been coming to me and saying, we're already in May. This is the 5th one I've had. So, one a year, and really hard on themselves. And it breaks my heart because they are turning all of what happened in our industry against them. Everything that happened, strike, post-strike, pre-strike, all that stuff is against them. We're in the middle of a crazy time right now. Yes, there are people out there auditioning. I'm booking. I'm coaching some of them. Yes, there are actors out there that are booking. Yes, I have actors that are booking, and do believe, it could be you and me. We're not taking ourselves out of that currency. We are not taking ourselves out of that flow at all, because I'm always rooting for us. But I also understand that there are more actors right now who are at big agencies, not auditioning. I know personally several actors who have had their series regulars, recurring top of show guest stars, and they are not auditioning. They're not auditioning right now. I had a conference, a workshop with Bella Hibbs in Arizona, and we had a manager come on and said they were expecting something different after the strike, meaning that things just did not come back the way they thought it was going to be. So we cannot turn this stuff against us. We can't do that. So here's what I want to say. Think of this as an early D12 shot. The consciousness of actors past cannot apply here. Let me say that one more time. The consciousness of actors past cannot apply here, and does not apply for this new era we are in the industry. Let me say that again and again and again. The thoughts, the actions, the behaviors of last year's actors, or 10 years ago actors, or 20 years ago actors, that does not apply here in this current situation. We got to shift it. We must shift it. What do you do with that? What do you do with that, DaJuan? I'm going to give you a couple tips here. Number one, focus on the things that you can control. Focus on the things that you can control. At the top of that list is your acting, your craft. I had a call the other day with an actor that wanted to get rid of their reps, and, because they had not been on many auditions. And, we just talked about why there are many auditions. But when I asked, how's your side of the road? Meaning, how's your acting? How's your materials? How's all the things they need? And this person said, It's okay. And if all of your stuff isn't top notch and you're trying to leave your rep to get to some other place so you can get more auditions, no, that's not the move, y'all. That's not the move. Stop listening to people saying it's your team. You should be able to say confidently, my craft is great. I'm always saying that. I'm always growing and learning, but I am ready. Ready. We should always be evolving. Here, number 2, right here. Look, y'all, the name of the game isn't get as many auditions as you can and see what sticks. That will leave you feeling depleted and worse about your acting than anything else out there. You think it won't, but trust me, it will. This isn't like, let me get 100 auditions so I can say I put my hat in the ring. That is an old adage that I don't know where it came from, but you don't want that. I've been there with the onslaught of auditions, and it starts to mess with your head when you get exactly what you wish for, and then you don't book them all. You wish to be in the game. You wish to be doing that. 100 auditions come your way, and then you don't get 100 bookings. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, what's up now? Be grateful for where you are right now. Be grateful. I promise you. And what if we stop repeating the words of actors past and wished and prayed for the auditions that were right for us? Instead of give me so many auditions, pray for the ones to come to you that are right for you, that we actually have a chance to book. That sounds so good. And be okay knowing that, if you choose to do this the old way, like going in there waiting for an agent or waiting for a manager to give you an appointment, that's okay. It just might take a little bit of time. It just might take a little bit of time here. Okay? Yeah, I just thought I wanted to start there today. But like I said, today's guest is Rose Rosen, casting director, and the host of her own podcast called Casting Confidential. Let me tell you, we got in this episode and we broke down so much of the stinking freaking thinking for actors. We deep dove into the business side of acting in this podcast. I always love hearing this broken down from casting director's perspective. Slates and self-tapes and just like all your materials, Actors Access really goes through that. And she talks about commercial agents and like why commercial actors are great. I was just like floored by, how much information she was sharing and giving. And it was just really, 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 really great. So I think you're going to like this podcast. And I hope you will stick around at the end when I do the D12 shot where I bring it all together. Hi, Rose.
Hi, DaJuan. Oh my God. I said it right, didn't I?
You did.
Oh, thank God. I am a stickler about saying people's names, and I didn't check in with you to make sure, but I was pretty positive. I've known quite a few DaJuans in my life. But hi, it's so nice to see your face and be together with you, even though it's virtual. And I mean, I've been a fan of yours for years now. And
oh, really? Years?
I love what you've been doing. I really do. Yes. How many seasons are you into your podcast now?
So my podcast, this is season 5 right now. So we're season, yeah. Wow. I forgot.
Is it crazy? Yeah, that's a lot of chat. It's a lot of stuff. And your Instagram is flawless.
Oh, thank you. I started with the Think Bigger Summit. And I used to do these summits out there, and I just loved it because people used to come to me and they were like, DaJuan, where did you do this? Where did you do this? How'd you do this person? And I was like, let me just put it in a summit. And then the summit got too big. And I was like, I'm just going to do a podcast.
It's so crazy. I mean, I think you and I are birds of a feather in that we love to give back and get people kind of on the right track, because so many of them are on the wrong track. But also what I do, and I think you do too, is focus more on their business journey, right? The business journey of an actor. Because, all day long, you could be a great actor. If you can't figure out the business, I'm never going to see you.
You're going to be no. And I think I'm glad you started there because I think the business is so key. And what we do is we want to just lean on, well, so and so told me I was a great actor. Well, if you're a great actor in just a classroom or you're a great actor in just a space where nobody can see you because you don't have that business component, I agree. Nobody's going to know about you. So you have to have that business acumen.
Right. I mean, I could tell you, and I won't name names because I don't like to do that,
Yeah.
but I can tell you like this one and this one was a far better actor, but
Mm.
that one made it all day long. It's the business. You think these people are discovered? They are not. They discovered themselves. They brought their talents to the places where they will be seen and be hired.
Mm.
That's the business.
Yeah. So we're starting hot, you all. I mean,
Oh,
Rose is going in hot, and I'm not going to let her take her foot off the gas because I have a question just about that. What you're saying is these people are putting their talents out there to be discovered. Can we talk a little bit more about that? I mean, we don't have to talk specifics, right? Or people you're talking about, but what do you mean by that in the sense of are they doing one-man shows or are they putting their headshots? I mean, I want to hear what you mean by that.
I mean, so like in smart ways, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So the not smart way that I get every single day, probably 50 times, is hi, I'm an actor. Will you can you put me in your database? I don't have a database.
Mhm.
I'm a casting director. I'm not going to respond to that because
Yeah.
okay, now that I have a podcast, like occasionally you'll get a response from me saying follow my podcast or something,
Yeah.
or whatever. But it's learn the business, right? So yeah, just sending random reels and headshots to casting to me doesn't help me. Now I know some casting directors that enjoy that, and great, but know your audience. So everywhere you turn, you need to be Googling. You need to figure this stuff out. You could Google me for 5 minutes and know you shouldn't send me your headshot.
Yeah. They're not doing the recon. They're not doing the work on it. The recon on, I have this running joke where somebody says that, oh, these casting directors don't like buttons on scenes. Well, that one casting director you went in for didn't like a button. That doesn't mean all of them. There might be another one over here that's like, no, go
But
for it, do it. So what we have to get smart actor, knowing that, hey, maybe Rose doesn't like X, but Sarah does. And we can be a little bit malleable like that, right?
you have to be. You
Mm.
have to know your audience. If you're going in for a series and you know this,
Mm.
you better watch that series
Yeah.
before you. And do you know how many actors don't? If you're going in for a commercial on a product, know the product. Okay, half the time these days we don't know what we're doing a commercial for because it's all NDA, and I can't even say, it's for this because it's really for that. But
Mhm. Yeah.
but if you know, then know and do your due diligence. You have to spend the time.
So I'm only laughing because, and we'll come back to this, you all, but I still cannot say if I did or did not do an Apple commercial. I still cannot say it, even though I may or
Right.
may not have shot it.
No, that's right.
I cannot confirm or deny that I was in it because if I
Right.
did do something, I might have signed an NDA. If you guys can read between those lines, it's great. But I just want to tell you that's how intense it is. What you're saying.
It is what it is. And you know what? The money's good.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
We're in a business. Does it matter if you were in an Apple commercial or a
Your words, not
Wendy's
mine,
commercial?
Apple. Your words, not mine.
No, but if in just this example world,
Mhm.
whatever, it doesn't matter to me. The only thing that matters to me is that you've done commercials, that you and ultimately when you're auditioning for a commercial, your resume is not that important.
That's important.
It's it's that read that day. I need to see that you have it, and then the client need you then there are 1,000 other things that are almost more important than your acting,
Okay.
about
All
your
right.
looks and your height and your shoe size. And
You're not getting away from me, everybody. I'm going to bring her back to this commercial conversation because I have so many questions about commercial casting and what I feel like actors sometimes are shooting themselves in the foot because they're like, I don't do commercials, or I don't, it's not really acting. No, I'm not going to let you get started on it, but I'm going to tease that. So you stick around, everybody. But I'm telling you, I will not let her get away. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you should have saw Rose's face when I said, I don't do commercials as an actor. But I want to take it back to just asking a question because first of all, congratulations. You've seen this industry evolve. Like you have seen this industry evolve, Edward Scissorhands, come on, like way back, not way back. I'm not
it
aging,
is,
but
it is way back. I
it's
know. I was 3 years old. It's not a big deal.
okay. That's what we're getting, But I wonder right now, before we get into that, is what in your eyes is the state of the union? What's the state of the industry right now? Because we as actors, we're feeling like it's in flux. We're feeling like self-tapes are, X. I'm hearing a lot of pitchforks with self-tapes and stuff, right? So I want to hear it from you, Rose.
So when I started out,
Mhm.
I got a camcorder and a VHS tape. I would run that all day. Oh, and I had lights. I'm going to tell you, my my lights were those Home Depot shop lights,
Yeah.
like a little thing. I mean, it's just a casting. We just need to see you, and a simple backdrop, and I'm in Florida, so I had to get a hotel room. So I had to do all that and some microphones, um, and and it worked every single time. And then we went from VHS tape to beta to CD-ROMs,
I remember. Yeah.
DVDs, right? And then I had a moment where I had to have an FTP site, which was like early cloud, very
Mm.
strange. But I had to do that overnight. Like
Mhm.
my client said to me, Rose, do you have an FTP site? And of course I said yes. I
Yeah.
had zero idea what that was. And this was the day before my casting, which then I'd have my casting and the next day I'd have it up on the FTP site. Guess what? I figured it out. I may not have slept for 72 hours, and I may have camped at the nearby college that was a TV and film college.
Yeah.
They may or may not have helped me with that. And it may or may not have been too big. And when he got it, he said, this looks like it'll be downloaded next week. So I think I had to go back in and chop it up, but I did it and
Yeah.
it worked. But that's the thing. The people who progress in this industry, who stay in the industry, are malleable.
Mhm.
They change.
Yeah.
They realize actors aren't the only ones having problems now. Casting is too.
Mhm.
And the union is coming and putting specific things on how we do business. I I can't go crazy enough over this.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many things changing, but if we don't change, then we can't be in it.
We kind of get left behind.
We get left behind. I mean, I am here to tell you, great, we have AI protections for the union, but AI is here. It great, we could protect you, but it's here. In my mind, I don't think we all need protection. I think we need to find out what we have and work with it
Mhm. Mhm.
on all the things. The casting software. I'm crazy about casting software. It made my life much easier. And there are blockades for me using that right now.
Yeah.
And that makes my life more difficult. And it doesn't make me more money. It makes me less money and harder work and more hours from my assistant. Where's that? Like I'm a businesswoman. Where's that money coming from? Right?
Yeah, I wonder, like, it's very interesting as I'm listening to you say this about like going from VHS to CD-ROM to burners, like, and if you've been in this industry long enough, my first reel was on a VHS, right? And I still have
Sure.
it, it was like a little V tape or something, I can't remember,
The
but
mini
the
DV,
mini or
and
something,
then they had those.
yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have that, but what I realized when you were talking, I've thought about this before, is that actors must see themselves as a business because businesses have to pivot at certain points. If we are staying the same the entire time, there could be stuff with the market, stuff with the economy, all that stuff has changed. And our industry right now is in one of those hardcore changes. And if we are, well, we don't like self tapes. Well, our chances are better in the room. Well, what do we want to do about that? Are we going to just yell about that, or are we going to be on this tide that changes? I think is what I'm hearing you say as well.
I mean, that's the thing. And we're not the only business that's changing, right?
Yeah.
AI is everywhere. It's certainly not just in our industry.
Yeah.
Um, there, everything is everywhere. Things
Yeah.
are changing. We have a different economy, and you have to be the guy to invest in the right things for your business. And figuring out how to do self tapes and putting a smile on that and saying, this is how I love that you have a process. Hello. I mean, that's brilliant. So, like, yeah, you should have a way to where it's set up, it's easy to set up, and you're there and you're doing it. And with a little creativity, you're the first one in the room. I can give you this much time, but I start looking at them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if there's a tight time, I'm gonna push the first ones over to the
Yeah.
client.
Right.
So I'm not telling you to do a bad job, and I'm not telling you I won't show you if you're later, but I am saying be a business person, get a process together that this is, yeah, I have a process for my casting. Have a process for your self tapes. Have a process for what you do every day as an actor. That's huge. Do you get up? Do you walk? I mean, have a process every day for being a person. I mean, every single day I wake up and I take a 1 hour walk. I have to breathe the air outside and just either bring in all the crap from the day before or get rid of it, one of the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I do that every day. And if I don't, I go nuts.
Hmm. I think it's important. One of the things that I codified why I talk about a process is because that when we get a self tape, if we have on our business hat, everyone, instead of our actor hat, you have your business hat on, you put all of this process. I know where I'm going to self tape or who I'm going to self tape with. I have a couple people, and then like, how do I break down this script? So that involves your acting part where you break this stuff down. We get this in our bones. And I'm not saying it so it feels stale. It's just so you know exactly what I'm going to be doing. So it's not, craziness that happens when an audition comes in. It's
Right.
part of a process. And so I really nailed that down because listen, my kids don't care if I have an audition. They still want to eat. You know what I
Right.
mean? They still I still got to go hang out and do homework and stuff like that. So I needed a way to handle this business part of acting.
Brilliant. Every day from 3 to 4, you
Yeah.
do your self tapes or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And, 4 to 5, you're making dinner, whatever. I mean, that's as it should be, as your life should be. I think we're all very creative,
Mm-hmm.
and that leads to a certain type
Right.
of person. But I think one can be creative and have a business process to ground them. And I believe it helps. It helps me.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. Um, you have so many awesome opinions about or thoughts or research, I guess, because you definitely have been working with actors for so long. I low key just want to ask about Edward Scissorhands. It's an iconic movie. I low key just want to. I don't know if you want to move on from that, but it sounds so amazing, and I haven't.
I mean, it was a really, I mean, set the stage. I was like 9 months pregnant for the whole time we were filming.
Yeah.
This was back in the day where when I interviewed for it,
Mhm.
it did not mention I was 5 months pregnant,
Oh, mhm.
right? I would not have gotten the job.
Yeah.
And then through the job, I never talked about it. I just got fat.
Yeah.
And that was fine. And, and I did my job and then had a baby. I actually spoke with a casting director friend of mine who just now did the same thing. I'm like, wow, we haven't changed.
Wow.
I didn't tell any of my clients.
Mm.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
So anyway, so that being said, but I'd go there and hang out no cell phones. I had a pager.
Yeah.
I know I sound like I'm 110, but I would go on set twice a day, and it was about 45 minutes from the house, and I would, pick up the talent for the day. Then I have to go home and call them, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
and I'd have somebody on set checking them in. I don't do that, but and mostly they were the same people, right? They were a lot of the neighbors. It wasn't like a big thing, but and then we had all the others, so yeah, and yeah, I was, and the people were fun. I mean, Tim, okay, fun and odd. Tim's an odd duck. There's no question. Johnny also, but likable. They're,
I think they lean into it, but you know what I mean? They lean into their brand. They
yeah,
lean into their
no, for
brand.
sure. I hung out a lot with Alan Arkin. Alan was a dear friend of mine until he just recently died. But yeah. He was, yeah.
Such a talent. I am wondering here. You are also big about. I mean, that's why I found you on social media, right? I mean, social media. You were out there championing actors, and actors were all up in arms about slates, and they're talking about like, I was trying to tell everybody, coming from a working actor, I'm just trying to tell you all that slates are usually in my world, they're just for identifiers or bookkeeping. And everybody was like, what? And I was like, I promise you, if they see the dog or the plant in the background, it is okay. Because I do universal slates sometimes. I don't have the time and I just pop in and do universal slates. And you came in, you're like, yeah, it's okay. And everybody was like, what? So, I mean, let's talk about slates real quick and just like, let's let some people's mind go at ease. Do you think that they are identifiers, bookkeeping things? For theatrical world, I know commercial world is a little bit different. Well, I don't know that to be true. But I'm asking you now.
No, that is true. Theatrical, I just need to make sure that, and honestly, it is an identifier, and it's just to be 100% sure that that this is DaJuan Johnson and this is his take, and that this is his agent, because you can make an error.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now,
like the Oscars,
again,
like saying the wrong thing at the Oscars, like saying the wrong winner.
Literally, I'm going to tell you a terrible story. So I was many things throughout my career, and I kept being the makeup artist as one of them. And while I was also doing casting, so I was casting for a commercial, and then I was there in the motorhome doing the makeup. And I'm looking out the big window of the motorhome into the sea of maybe it was 5 extras that I put out there. And she says, and my client says to me, so where's Susie Smith? And I said, there's Susie Smith, and she's like, that's not the Susie Smith I wanted.
Yeah.
I did change the name mostly because I've forgotten the name, but it was a simple name like this.
Right.
It was the funniest thing. And it was fine because it was an extra. It wasn't that big of a deal, but she noticed. So double checking, we're crazy about that. Casting, so that's important. Once again, the casting software is important because you're, as I like to say, bagged and tagged and all put together, and my client can click on, your resume, whatever you have in there. Please put all the things in there. Fill out your profile so completely, and each of those little boxes, fill them out, be honest, fill it out, take all your time, update that stuff. That's so important to me. And that's more on the commercial side, but actually both. I mean, if you need a fencer for an episode of NCIS, then that's what I need. And I want the guy to responsibly look like a fencer, right? So
Yeah.
fill it out.
I joke about it with everybody, but I say they just want to know how to say DaJuan. They just want to know
Yeah.
how to say DaJuan.
I went pretty far on that slate, didn't I?
No.
But,
But I mean, but no, I'm just saying, for seriously, like, if I want to bite size it for people. It isn't as it's. I've never heard of anybody saying in theatrical world they got fired because, or they didn't get hired because of their slate. Like, sometimes we don't even see them, like who they think.
And those little slates that move,
Yeah.
those things creep me out. I know there's a lot of discussion about that. I don't understand what they're doing there, but whatever. I'm just saying that if I can save you a little bit of money with my opinion, great. If you like them, keep them. I don't care.
We don't talk about it. I don't want to knock anybody's business, like you're saying.
No,
Right,
exactly. 100%.
You don't need to do that. We don't need to do moving slates. We don't need to do that stuff. Yeah.
No, none of that. And I like the idea that you just have a slate that you put in. That's good. Now, when it comes to commercial, there might be 50 things in that slate. I will work as a local, but that's for non-union, but that happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a few non-union listeners. I live here. I'm doing this. Here are my hands, all kinds of weird things that we're going to have you state, a state that you're, you've been a fencing person for how many years, whatever. But yeah, so all that's important.
So, I can't get away from this, and I really want to talk about commercials because you keep bringing it up and you're teasing me, and it's something that the commercial world, in your eyes, I'm going to ask that question first. How much has it really changed? Because I feel like when I started years ago, we could book a commercial, regional or national, and make a decent, like a good grip of money. And now it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a lot of things are union. Sorry, everybody, union. But now it doesn't feel like that. What's your take on the trajectory of where commercials are going right now? long pregnant pause. You gotta watch this on YouTube. It's so intense. I think she's trying to figure out what to say nicely.
My producer on my podcast always says, well, just pause before you answer.
Okay. And me on this podcast, I'm like, I want it all. Don't pause, go.
Oh my goodness. So, I mean, here's the thing. Once again, everything is business, right? So businesses are gonna do whatever the bottom line does. I'm sorry, if they can get the same work for $1,000 as $100,000, they're gonna pick the 1,000. I would. So, I mean, I don't think there's nothing we can do.
Right. Okay.
So my point is, it's still good money.
Mm-hmm.
It's still more money than you're going to make on a week on a series. It's still good money. So, and what I will say, and I think, the common thought is that we don't like film and theater people to do commercials, and I think that is completely gone.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've ever heard that.
Oh my God, no!
I'm a film guy. I'm a TV guy. And so doing commercials, I love it.
They never cared.
Yeah.
Sound casting directors don't prefer to see that's why the commercials on request. It's not because you shouldn't put down Nestle. It's more.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think so. I think it's hiding that you're a commercial actor because they want to see real actors. There's some BS in there that I don't ascribe to.
Okay.
But I have heard that.
So what would you say? Because some of the actors. Well, here's what I want to say, and this isn't a brag or anything like that, but you're saying that it's more than um more than a week of work on a series, on some series. Because
Yeah, no.
where
And
I'm at
yeah,
right now.
right. No, it depends on how good your agent is and how good you are.
Yeah, yeah,
Two
yeah, yeah.
things.
I'm just saying, I just did, I just finished up 7 seasons on the show, and so like
That's a different story.
I know it's a different. I was gonna say it's
That that's not, yeah. But I love that you still will do a commercial.
Oh, absolutely. Come on. Like because also what I do say, and this isn't knocking anything, because I bartended for 12 to 15 years. 12 in one place and then 3 more in another place. And so what I will say is it's better money than going back to bartending. Right.
Exactly.
It's so and
Exactly.
it's and I'm in the world of being creative and in my craft and stuff like that. What do you say to a lot of things that I hear are I don't want to do commercials because I don't feel like it's acting. That's what I hear a lot from actors. And I'm like, just chew the Twizzler and make $3,000.
Well, I
Sorry,
mean,
Twizzler.
here's the thing. I think in some ways it's the hardest acting. You
Mm,
have to condense it down so tiny, so specific. You have no room, and you better do it how they want it, which,
mhm.
okay, doesn't give you all that much room as an actor, but it also gives you all the room, right? Because if you present it to them and they love it, then it's how they want it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would be one or two of your tips if like somebody's, trying to there's like I audition a lot for commercials, but I don't book them. What would be one or two of your tips that you've seen a lot of people that have booked doing?
I see them and hear them in their tapes.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they're not harassing me before or after with, obscure questions that are in the breakdown, right?
Hmm.
It's like, don't annoy us,
Hmm.
because there are a lot of people, and I'm not going to show you if I'm annoyed by you. I'm just going to say that that's the truth.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to, right? If you're annoying me, you're going to annoy my client.
Mm. Hmm.
And that I cannot have,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So just once again, be professional, read the directions, and have good light and good sound. And you're 90% of the way there.
Yeah.
And get it in early, because
Hmm.
commercials go fast. I don't care what the deadline is. Do your best to get it in early. And last but not least, respond.
Hmm.
Say you can't do it. Say you can do it. Uh, Even if you're going to be late, send that note. That's a salient note I want to see. I'm going to be late. Can I do that?
What do
So
you
don't
think
waste
about
your
the acting?
time.
What do you think
Huh?
about the acting? Like, what are some of the things like, is it some of the things like be dropped in, be real, show the product or like be familiar with it? Is there something like that you see? Because I know you probably, so I go into a lot, this casting office commercial in town. They know they can depend on me. They call me in. I've booked with them
That's it.
before. Do you know what I mean? Like I've been into that room a lot. I might not book a ton, but I have booked. So they're like, great. And so I'm wondering, is it what do you think there?
No,
Sorry.
you're a proven commodity.
Right.
I know what I'm buying, if you
Right.
will.
Mhm.
Right?
No, no.
That's it.
Mhm.
I have the same thing. There are these lists of my greatest talent. There's a list of my not favorite talent.
Mhm.
There's the list of my greatest agents, my not greatest agents.
Mhm.
I can tell you horror stories about any of those, and great stories,
Mhm.
both,
Yeah.
all over the country.
Mhm. That's good. No, it's good.
It's
It's
a
good.
small industry.
It is so small. It is
Yeah.
so small. You don't believe it is, but it really, really, really is so small. Are you doing most of your casting right now from commercials by tape?
Oh, yeah. And I have for 10 years.
Really?
Yes. That's why, like, in the pandemic, I became like really hot.
Oh,
Like, everybody, how do you do that, Rose? I was like, I came out with a self tape on my YouTube channel with Casting Networks. It's
yeah.
very well, like I was teaching people how to do that because I knew, it's like I've been doing it. I've been casting all over the country for many years. being in
Mhm.
Florida doesn't keep me in Florida. And I saw that opportunity.
Yeah.
It's like Florida was a hot film market for a while, and then, we got rid of the rebates, and so
Mhm.
now it's Georgia, and it I would say it may be someplace else next. It will be, but Georgia's pretty solid in terms of I don't think it's going anywhere.
We'll see. I'm not gonna. We won't get into that, but I think
You
Georgia
never
feels
know.
like you never know about that.
You
I don't know
never
if I.
know. That's the thing.
Well,
Yeah.
Rose, because you started so hot. I didn't get to tell you this that my hometown is Florida.
Oh, I didn't
That's
know
why I said,
that.
see, all right.
That's amazing. Oh, wow. Whereabouts?
I'm Miami. Miami, Florida is where I grew up, but I
Amazing.
also get this. I went to college at University of Florida. So we used to
Oh my
drive
God.
down to Tampa, which I believe you're in from my notes
Yeah.
and stuff. We used to
Yeah.
drive down and I'm so happy I went to school there before there were cell phone cameras and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So Ybor City did not
The most fun,
the
right?
most
The
fun, but
most
I could just, be myself in that.
you can't, college is its own thing.
It really,
We
really
all
is.
had those years.
Hey there, it's DaJuan, and I've got some really exciting news to share. This August, we're gathering in Los Angeles for something special, the Think Bigger Actors Retreat. It's 3 days where we as actors can really dive deep into what it takes to push our mindset, craft, and our careers forward. And oh man, I've been wanting to do this for so long. Bring us all together in room, in person. All right, listen, the main event will be at the Garland Hotel, where we'll have sessions with incredible industry experts, including casting directors, agents, managers, series regular panels, and more. Yeah, it's going to be a game changer. And I'm the mindset guy. So we will be doing some real deep dives into the new mindset needed in this industry right now. Space is limited. It is pretty limited because I want this to be a personal experience where everyone can really engage and benefit. So if you are interested, jump on the info list link below. You'll get all the inside scoop on our session speakers and some special pricing just for our tribe when it becomes available. See you at the Think Bigger Actors Retreat.
I was coaching an actor today. I was working with him one-on-one, and I asked him this a very important question that we'll talk about maybe in the D12 shot today, guys. But it was, how do you want to run your business? Not how like all the people around you, but have you asked yourself, how do I want to run my business? So DaJuan wants to run his business. If I'm going to turn it down, I'm going to make sure, hey, let's turn it down and just say we're passing, but I'm excited about their next thing. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. And because I understand, I've been in this industry enough, you don't have a little black book that's you're like in a corner, you're like, DaJuan passed. He'll never come in.
No, no, I love that you passed. And
Yes.
if you passed and I really want you,
Yes.
I'm gonna get you.
Right.
And
And
then
that's happened a lot.
you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna say, well, I'm gonna be in Tahiti then, so I don't know. Are you moving the shoot? I mean, that's a bigger discussion, right? But yeah,
I love that. I
yeah,
love that.
if somebody I love like you would turn it down, I'd call the agent immediately and say, what's going on here?
Yeah. I've gotten that before with theatrical and stuff like that. And I've passed on something. I'm like, you know what? It's just not now. And they're like, hey, they really want to see you. Can you, put it on tape? I'm like, cool. If they really want to see me, we've already know my conflicts. We're great.
Yes.
Then I'll put it on tape and I have to decide that. So I think that that's also really, really, really wonderful on there. Actors are looking for ways to do better on their tapes. They're looking to do better on their tapes, Rose. And since I got you and you have a captive audience here, I would love to hear, I think the bare minimum, I want to be able to hear you. I want to be able to see you. Nobody is saying anymore. I've talked to so many casting directors that have said, like, we don't care if it's a ring light. We just want to make sure that we can see you, with that and non-distracting background. So my background would not work if you're watching this on YouTube. But I understand. But also I've heard, who cares at that point? Like, I just want to be able
out
to.
of a restroom in a airport. I mean,
Yes. Yeah. Jeremy Gordon was on here and he said somebody was in a coat closet between shifts at work and they booked it because, and so it's just like, we just want to see that. So I guess I'm always trying to, get rid of some of these rumors out there. And what do you think, one or two things that actors could really focus on? And it could be the same things. Them just hearing it again. I just want to hear it from you.
Wear your shoes.
Oh, that's so good. That's an acting thing, Rose. That's a big acting thing,
Oh my
though.
God. I can't tell you. This is from Kim Swanson, if you want to know the truth. Um, and she's like, why? She would call me, why are they not wearing their shoes, Rose?
Yeah.
And it's just like, because they're at home and they don't realize that long shot is going to include their feet. And it's like, we need shoes. I don't want to see your naked feet. So that's
Mhm.
just a simple thing. But just read everything and then do your best,
Mhm. Mhm.
whatever that is. And to me, once again, this is just me. Give me 2 takes.
Mhm.
Even
Mhm.
if I don't ask for it, which I usually do,
Mhm.
but give me 2 takes. And do it till you feel good, right?
Yeah.
Don't kill yourself. You should feel good within 5. But
I say if you're going over 5, you've moved out of serving the character. You haven't done enough work beforehand, and so you need
right,
to go back into your process. Because before
right.
that, yeah. Mhm. What's the buzz on, since you have your ear to the casting director ground? What's the feeling? I feel like a lot of casting directors have been under fire lately, and it's been kind of, I feel, ill-placed. And I don't, everybody, I'm not saying that because I have a casting director here. You guys know I walk my talk. I would just say it. What we're feeling here is, but I feel like it's been very misplaced about casting directors not watching all of our tapes, casting directors not, or we're doing their job, all that stuff. And I'm like, well, we have to evolve, and they're like not. So I just wonder, how is everybody feeling too?
Terrible.
Mm,
I mean, we feel like you guys hate us when we're not the entity to be hated.
yeah.
We're just a dumping ground. We're in between. We've always kind of felt like, I mean, we're above the line, yet we're not welcome on set. I
Mm,
mean, it's crazy.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes we're welcome on set, but we had to call ahead. It's not like, oh, I can just drop in, like
Yeah.
that's a whole, eh, eh, it it's a very strange business we're in.
Mm,
And for actors to not understand that you're the answer to our problem.
mhm.
I get a job in, I need this guy. If that guy is you and I could do it in one, I'm happy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me if what, as long as I get it done, that I'm a business person.
Mhm.
I am filling that order just the same as, any other order. But but what we would like is respect it. And we used to be the darlings. Actors loved us. We spread the fairy dust. I mean, I had a thing in my, with my team, we spread the sparkle. It's
Yeah.
it does not feel that way anymore. I
What do you
mean,
think changed?
I think actors, I think part of it was actually that we became more accessible, and more accessible breeds familiarity in a
Mm,
way that can be disrespectful. And I don't mean to say that in a mean way or anything else, but I was, you couldn't, if you emailed me, you would get nothing. If you knocked on my door, I certainly wouldn't answer it. If you
yeah.
called me, I wouldn't answer it. And you wouldn't do it
Mhm.
back before the pandemic. And I wasn't all over social media, right? So us going on social media and going on Clubhouse and being with the people and giving you advice somehow gave many actors the card to also get angry at us.
Mm.
And it literally makes no sense, but this is where we are. And so many great casting directors are just being crapped on from actors, and it doesn't feel good. And once again, that's why I do the podcast, so that somebody might understand at some point. And that's what, I'm glad we're talking about it, because it hurts us.
Yeah.
It-
I guess what
you,
I'm thinking, remind me, Rose, what I'm thinking is, it sounds to me like actors' frustrations and their sadness for maybe not booking, their anger for not booking, now had a place to be put with the accessibility, right? So and it's such a very interesting thing that I'm hearing, because none of this has been directed towards agents or managers,
it's
right? And it's
they're still
they're
spreading the fairy dust.
well, and it's very interesting because they're just as selective about who they're putting on their roster. You know what I mean? And so it's
And
very
you're
interesting.
paying them.
And we're paying them, and people are dropping and moving. And so that's why when I'm listening to you, I'm like, where did that disconnect happen? Or
I
did we
don't
not?
work for you. I work for the production company.
Yeah.
I literally it shouldn't be responding to your, I'm going to call it whining. But that's not, it's just not right. It's the incorrect position for actors to place all that on us, that we have this many people in a self-tape, that we have this, that their chances are worse. Your chances are as good as your acting is.
Ouch. I felt that for all of us.
I'm sorry, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it is.
I mean, it's as good as that part of the piece. The other part is your look. The other part, there's so many, your availability, whether or not you'll take the paycheck. But you shouldn't answer something unless you are going to take the paycheck, or your agent is talking that out. That's fine. But no, don't dump on us. Stop it.
Wow.
It doesn't help the industry. It doesn't help our our juju, our camaraderie. We are there. We want you to succeed. We want every actor that we bring in to succeed. And we just want clarity, like decline.
Yeah. I think for everybody, and just my take on it, things started to shift a little bit in this business for me when I started. We'll finish this the way we started this, when I started seeing this fully as a business. Right.
Yes.
And understanding that a lot of the no's, although they feel personal because it's me, I'm my body, my business, it feels personal. But when I realized, that it's not, I feel like I can pull myself out of it. For example, when I was on hold for a series regular last year before, I can't remember, it had to be year before because we were in strike last year, for 6 weeks. And I remember thinking when I came out of that, I can't be mad at casting, because what I know to be true is I sat on somebody's list for 6 weeks while they were trying to put a family together. You don't stay. We called and they were like, casting's like, he's still there. So if we don't dump on casting and we make them our allies and our friends, we also get to understand they're going to book other shows.
Oh yeah. 100%. That is, yeah, you're booking the room. You're showing up to me many more times than I will give you a job.
Yeah.
100%. You're going to show up and show up and show up. That's your job. My job is watching you and pushing you forward as many times as I can until you get the job. That's it.
I love it. Hey, Rose, if you wanted to leave the actors with just one thing, as we land this Florida love fest with each other, what do you want to leave actors with that maybe are in the industry right now, and they are feeling a little bit frustrated, feeling a little bit down because the industry feels like it's a little bit harder? Just what do you want to leave us with?
I mean, please remember that you are the answer to casting's problem.
Yeah.
Remember that we want you to be it. We don't have anything against you.
Yeah.
If we have asked you in to do a self-tape, then we think you're right. That is a win.
Rose, you got a lot. You got a lot. I mean, how can we find this Casting Confidential and this Zoom call on Mondays and all this stuff? I mean, let us know so I can leave it in the show notes and everything.
Oh, please, please. At Casting Confidential is on Instagram,
Mhm.
and Rose Rosen CSA is on Instagram. And Casting Confidential is everywhere you get your podcast. My
Great.
producer did a great job.
Yeah.
It is literally everywhere. I was watching it. I think it's translated already in some other, like crazy.
Mm.
But yeah, so and please, please, while we're launching, I am told that it's important to rate and review,
It
and
is.
starting with Apple and then Spotify and then all the others. And I I would be indebted. It would make me happy because, I'm competitive.
I did not expect that, you all. I thought I was going to be something like, prolific, like because I want to help more. It's no, because I'm competitive. Thank
No,
you, Rose.
but it'll keep the lights on. I
There
think
you go.
that. That's the whole thing. If we, I've got 6 casting directors there. We have to keep the lights on. It takes a lot, as you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking you guys to spend any money. Just hit
Nope.
5 stars and say, I love Rose. I love her panel of casting directors. What great information. I don't care what you say, but please do say it. And if you want to come live, there is a link in my link tree. It's at a subscription, $10 a month if you want to come and be a part of the conversation.
Great.
I am happy to have you. I'm just not pushing that. I'm pushing the podcast, but all of it. And if you want, I could give your listeners a month free. I'll give you that link.
Excellent. We'll put it in a thing and we'll do that. I want to say thank you on behalf of all the actors. I know sometimes a little pocket of actors are sometimes the loudest, and then it makes you think that the other 95% of people are not loving on casting directors. We understand that it's a business, and we also understand that you are pulling for us. And it's sometimes I want to be also rooting for my actor people. And I say, I know it's sometimes hard to see that when you're told a lot of no's, and you're thinking that they are the ones totally giving no's. But sometimes a no might be not right now. I've told this a million times. I went in to see for NCIS 30 times, 33 to be exact.
Isn't that
30,
crazy?
33 times. And, you can look at it like freaking casting director keeps bringing me in. Why don't they just offer to me? Or we can understand what they shift. All we do is reframe is they're looking for something for me. They're
Right.
looking for something.
And thank God you
Thank you so much, Rose, for being here. Listen to the podcast. Go check out Casting Confidential, but we're also going to go and check out it live as well. All right, Rose. Thank you so much.
thank you. Loved it.
Ooh-wee. Rose wasn't pulling any or saving any punches. She was going for it. When she said this, you thought those people were discovered. They are not. They brought their talent to the places where they will be seen and hired. I nearly threw my phone. As I was walking and listening to this. I was like, oof, oof, oof. I came up with this analogy of a person selling cookies on the side of the road, waiting for people to drive by or, stop at their stand. And when those people do, if they're lucky, then they get to sell them your cookies. They get to sell cookies versus the Girl Scouts who go door to door. Yes, in this day and age, I still have Girl Scouts that come door to door in my little neighborhood. I want you, per what Rose was just talking about, and going out there, getting your materials, getting your talent to the people, the places where they could be seen and hired. I want you to be the Girl Scout in this story. Be the Girl Scout in this story. So many actors sit and wait for things to happen for them, to happen to them. Wait for the phone to ring, wait to be chosen. But what if you entered this next season of your life playing full out, putting yourself all the way out there, like all the way out there? Going after the roles you wanted. If it's not in the trades, trying to figure out who's casting it, getting in front of those people, putting a scene up on tape that represents the character that you want to play. Going to get those headshots that are so specific that your character, of the character you want to play, that people can't say no. They're like, that is the person. What if we want to play all out? What if you went after that agent that you want to work with, and either getting that yes or getting that not right now? But more than anything, being excited that you put yourself out there. Or you can keep waiting to get discovered. See, so many actors I coach are waiting for this career to happen the way it was said to have happened for actors past. They are bringing their academic mindset to this unconventional, make no sense business. And it's just not going to cut it. So I'm here, sitting in my big comfy chair in my office, asking you, who are you going to be in this next season? The Girl Scout or the cookie stand on the side of the road? But DaJuan, what if I put myself out there and no one bites? I've done it so many times before. What if I give it and I go all the way in and I still don't book? What if? Then you don't. Then it doesn't happen. Then you pick up and try it a different way. Then you build your own table. Then you keep working a different angle. All of that stuff. This is not an academic track out here, y'all. It really, really isn't. A plus B does not equal C out here. Ever. Never has. Never will. The days of the lemonade stand or the cookie stand, that's over. If we've learned nothing from these last couple of years, it's that the business is not working the way it should for all of us. So why are we still trying to make fetch happen? That's for my old school listeners. Get out there. Ask yourself, who are you going to be in this next season? The Girl Scout or the cookie stand on the side of the road? Who? I love you all so big. I really, really, really mean that. I really love chatting with you. I love that you get to come in. I love that you stop into this podcast and you are like, stopping me on the street now and telling me you're posting it everywhere. You're joining my programs from off of the podcast and stuff like that. I just want to say that I am just as humbled as I could ever be, because I don't know that I ever thought that this was ever going to get this big. And the fact that it is that big, and the fact that people can repeat back to me, some of my key takeaways and my things that I say, I just think it's really, really effing awesome. And if I could do something like this, you can do it as well. So let's just figure out what that is. And it might not look like what everybody else is doing. It just might not look like that. And that is okay. Okay. So, hey, remember, don't quit. Don't get out of line. And listen to this when I say this to you. Borrow my faith in you, because I'm rooting for you so hard. Borrow my faith in you, and I'm rooting for you. And hold the vision, not the circumstance. I look forward to seeing you out there in the interwebs. Thanks for posting. Thanks for letting me know you're watching. Thanks for DMing me. Thanks for emailing me. Thanks for all of it. If you like this episode, I'd love to hear that too. Have a great rest of your day.